The vast expanse of space around Earth's orbit glittered with an unnatural intensity. Dozens of colossal ships hung like dark monoliths against the starlit void. Their surfaces shimmered with strange alloys, cold and unfamiliar, reflecting no light except for the harsh glows of their weapon emplacements. The Galactic Overlords had arrived. For centuries, the Galactic Concord had written off Earth as a backwater, a primitive planet barely worthy of notice beyond its quaint history of self-destruction and isolation. The Overlords' fleets were the epitome of galactic power, vast armadas that had tamed countless worlds, enslaved rebellious races, and dictated the rules of cosmic expansion. Now, they hovered with disdainful patience above a world they believed too weak to resist. In the command center of the United Nations Space Command headquarters, high above the bustling megacity of New Geneva, General Maya Ortega stared out at the looming fleet. Her jaw was clenched, eyes sharp with a mixture of defiance and dread. Every sensor reading screamed imminent threat. Every strategy briefing ended in grim silence. "Status report," she demanded, her voice cutting. Through the tense hum of consoles, Lieutenant Raj Patel tapped rapidly on his holopad. "They've blocked all our long-range communications. Their jammers are the most advanced we've ever seen. No direct contact possible. Only their broadcast channel remains open." Maya nodded. "Then let's hear their message." The massive holoscreen flickered and a tall, slender figure materialized. An overlord envoy clad in iridescent armor that shifted colors like liquid metal. His voice echoed cold and unyielding. "People of Earth," he began, his tone condescending, "your era of isolation ends today. The Galactic Concord demands your immediate surrender. Your planet's resources and position in this sector require stewardship by more advanced races. Resistance will be met with annihilation." Maya's hands curled into fists. The words were a death sentence disguised as diplomacy. For decades, humanity had retreated from galactic politics, focusing inward, rebuilding after the first contact debacle that had nearly shattered Earth's unity. Now they were offered only subjugation or destruction. Across the globe, billions watched the transmission in stunned silence. News anchors spoke in hushed tones. Military bases went on high alert. The world held its breath. Back in the command center, Maya's mind raced. "How much time do we have?" Raj checked his interface. "They're giving us 48 hours. After that, they say they'll begin orbital bombardment." The room fell deadly quiet. 2 days. Not enough to rally a conventional defense, much less turn the tide against a fleet like this. Then, a subtle blip registered on one of the outer sensors. A barely perceptible energy signature near Saturn's rings. At first, it was dismissed as a glitch or cosmic interference, but as the seconds passed, it grew stronger, more defined. "General, you need to see this," Raj urged. Maya's eyes narrowed. "Show me." The holoscreen shifted to a live feed from Saturn's orbit. At first, there was only darkness and the shimmering bands of the rings. Then, something massive emerged. A shadow larger than any moon, sleek and angular, cloaked in a shimmer of distortion that bent light and radar alike. The Overlord envoy's image flickered, his confident expression faltering. "What is that?" he demanded. Before anyone could answer, a new message echoed through the communication channels. It was Earth's voice, but unlike anything the galaxy had heard before. Calm, unwavering, and tinged with a warning that chilled the air. "You have underestimated us." Silence fell over the conference hall as the reality sank in. Earth, the forgotten backwater world, had something hidden, something vast, something powerful. On the bridge of the Leviathan, Captain Celine Chen stood at the viewport, gazing out at the swirling rings of Saturn. The ship was a marvel of engineering, a supercarrier unlike any other, built in secret over decades. Its hull was etched with sleek lines, designed to slip through detection like a ghost. Dark matter engines hummed beneath the surface, promising power that could rival entire star systems. "This moment was coming," Celine said softly, eyes steely with resolve. "The galaxy thinks we're weak, Soon, they'll learn the truth. Her crew moved with practiced precision, activating weapon arrays and deploying drone swarms. The Leviathan's AI began calculating attack vectors, defensive formations, and electronic warfare protocols. Every system was ready to turn from silence into thunder. Back on Earth, General Ortega activated the Global Defense Network. The ancient space station's orbital lasers and planetary shields were only a fraction of the arsenal humanity had amassed in secret. The public had no idea, and the galaxy certainly did not suspect. "Prepare to broadcast to all fleets," Maya ordered. "Let them see Earth's secret." As the countdown to the Overlord's ultimatum ticked closer, tension wrapped the world in a suffocating grip. Would Earth stand alone against an ancient empire? Or was this the dawn of a new era, where humanity would rise from the shadows and claim its place among the stars? The Leviathan's massive form shifted, cloaking layers peeling back to reveal rows of weapon turrets, missile bays, and sensor arrays. It was no longer hiding. It was ready, and the galaxy would never forget the day Earth's secret supercarrier emerged. Saturn's ring shimmered with a fractured light as the massive vessel slowly detached itself from the shadows. The Leviathan's hull gleamed with an eerie metallic sheen, its surface shifting almost like liquid glass to evade the sensors of the Galactic Overlords. Every inch of the supercarrier screamed technological mastery, a fusion of humanity's ingenuity and reverse-engineered alien tech. From the bridge of the Leviathan, Captain Celine Chen stood rigidly at her command console, eyes locked on the holomap displaying the approaching Overlord fleet. Despite the calm in her voice, a fierce storm churned inside her. "Status report," she demanded. "Stealth field stabilizing. Energy output holding at maximum efficiency," her tactical officer replied. "The Overlord fleet is beginning to respond. They're sending a scout fleet to intercept us." Celine's jaw tightened. "Good. Let them come. We'll show them what Earth has been hiding." Far above the icy world of Europa, the Overlord scout fleet advanced with clinical precision, confident in their technological supremacy. Their ships, sleek and angular, glided through space like hunting blades, scanning relentlessly for any sign of hostile activity. They had never encountered a threat that Earth could muster, much less a secret supercarrier. Suddenly, the Leviathan vanished from all known sensor readings. Gone. They disappeared. The Overlord commander's voice was laced with disbelief. "Impossible," his second-in-command snapped. "No stealth tech in the galaxy can mask a vessel of that size." "Yet, they have," the commander growled. "Prepare to engage the drone network. We will flush them out." The Leviathan's drone swarms erupted from hidden bays along its hull, thousands of microdrones buzzing like a deadly swarm of metallic hornets. Their mission: disrupt enemy sensors, jam communications, and incapacitate weapon systems with precise electromagnetic pulses. As the drones swarmed around the Overlord scout ships, the fleet's sensors flickered wildly. Their targeting systems scrambled. Missiles veered off course. Turrets spun uselessly. Chaos erupted in the silent vacuum. "Return fire," the Overlord commander ordered, but it was too late. The Leviathan struck with brutal efficiency. Long-range plasma cannons lanced through the darkness, cutting through the hulls of scout ships like paper. Automated railguns unleashed torrents of tungsten slugs, tearing apart fragile engines. The Leviathan's AI predicted every move before it happened, countering each assault with deadly precision. From the bridge of the flagship, Celine watched the destruction unfold with quiet satisfaction. "Deploy Valkyrie squads," she commanded. "Let's finish this." Within minutes, the first wave of Valkyrie mechs launched from the supercarrier's hangars. Sleek, humanoid war machines piloted by elite soldiers who had trained in secret for decades. Their armor shimmered with energy shields, their weapons, systems integrated with the Leviathan's command net. As the Valkyries tore into the scattered Overlord fleet, Celine allowed herself a brief smile. Humanity was no longer a forgotten world. It was a force to be reckoned with. Back on Earth, millions watched live feeds broadcast across the galaxy, the images of the Leviathan's sudden emergence, its swift destruction of the Overlord scouts, and the Valkyrie mechs descending like thunderbolts. The myth of human weakness shattered in an instant. In the Galactic Concord's council chambers, shock rippled through the gathered delegates. The High Overlord's face, a mask of unyielding authority, flickered with rare uncertainty. How did Earth hide this for so long? He demanded. An intelligence officer stepped forward, voice low and cautious. They exploited our assumptions. We believed their technology primitive, no threat. But their research into dark matter propulsion, quantum cloaking, and AI has been decades ahead of what we knew. The High Overlord's eyes narrowed. They've been waiting. Preparing. Indeed, sir, the officer said grimly. We may have underestimated humanity to our peril. Meanwhile, inside the Leviathan, Captain Chen convened with her senior officers. The stakes had never been higher. We must hold the perimeter around Earth. The Overlords will escalate, she warned. They'll bring everything they have. Our advantage is surprise, but that won't last. Her tactical officer nodded. We're initiating planetary defense grid activation. Orbital fortresses are coming online. Drone swarms are ready to deploy at a moment's notice. Celine turned toward the viewport, gazing at the distant blue-green planet she swore to protect. We didn't build this supercarrier just to survive, she said softly. We built it to fight back, to make them remember. Earth is not to be trifled with. Suddenly an alert blared. The Overlord fleet had split. While part engaged the Leviathan, another contingent was heading toward Mars. Celine's eyes narrowed. They're trying to cut off our supply lines. We cannot let them establish a foothold on Mars. Prepare Valkyrie assault teams for rapid deployment, the operations officer said. We'll strike before they can land. As the Leviathan accelerated toward Mars, its engines glowing with a fierce blue radiance, the galaxy's eyes were fixed on Earth. The era of underestimation was over. Humanity's hidden power had awakened, and the Overlords were forced to reckon with a new reality. Deep inside the Leviathan, far below the gleaming command deck, the ship thrummed with life. Hidden corridors hummed with the footsteps of engineers, soldiers, and scientists, all united by a singular purpose: protecting Earth and unveiling the truth the galaxy refused to see. Captain Celine Chen moved briskly through the corridors, her every step echoing against the polished metal. She was no longer just the captain of a supercarrier. She was the leader of humanity's last line of defense and hope. At the heart of the ship lay the research core, a vast labyrinthine complex where the brightest minds of Earth worked tirelessly. Here, alien artifacts were studied, human technology was fused with otherworldly discoveries, and the Valkyrie mechs were refined into unstoppable warriors. Celine entered the core's central chamber, where Dr. Emile Navarro, the lead xenotechnologist, stood over a holographic display. Alien symbols shimmered in the air, a tangled web of unknown tech and cryptic data. Captain, Emile greeted without looking up, eyes glued to the display. We've deciphered more of the Overlord's technology from the wreckage of their scout ships. Their power systems are advanced but archaic in some ways. We've adapted their energy modulation into the Valkyrie shields. Celine nodded, absorbing the weight of the revelation. And the weapon systems? Emile tapped the holoscreen. Enhanced. But our reverse engineering has given us an edge. The Leviathan's railguns can punch through their armor. Our drone AI outmaneuvers their targeting algorithms. We're turning their own technology against them. Good. Celine's voice hardened. We need every advantage. The Overlords aren't just attacking. They're trying to cripple our colonies on Mars, Titan, and Europa. They want to isolate Earth before crushing us. Emile's eyes flickered with unease. They don't realize the colonies aren't abandoned. They're armed, hidden. We've built entire fleets underground, trained generations in secret. Celine let out a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. We were never defenseless. We were preparing. Across the Leviathan, Captain Chen's second-in-command, Commander Jonah Reyes, was overseeing Valkyrie pilots in the training bays. The mechs stood in formation, towering figures of gleaming armor and weaponry, silent but ready. Jonah walked among them, nodding at the pilots who met his gaze with steely resolve. These Valkyries, he said, voice low but fierce, are more than machines. They're the symbol of humanity's will to survive. Each pilot here carries the hopes of Earth on their shoulders. A young pilot, Lieutenant Zara Voss, caught his attention. Her eyes burned with determination. "Ready for your first combat mission, Lieutenant?" Jonah asked. Zara smiled grimly. "Born ready. Earth's secret ends today." Back in the war room, Celine watched live feeds from the colonies. Europa's icy plains glittered under the light of the distant sun, but soon they would become a battlefield. Mars's rust-red deserts hid more than dust and rock. They concealed armories, hangars, and brave defenders. Her comm crackled. "Captain, we've detected unusual energy readings from Europa's northern sector. Recon drones report movement. Overlord troops preparing to land." Celine's eyes narrowed. "Deploy Valkyries immediately. Delay their landing. Protect the colony." The battle for Europa would be the first true test of humanity's secret arsenal, and failure was not an option. Meanwhile, in the dark halls of the Galactic Concord, a conspiracy brewed. A faction within the Overlords, uncomfortable with the reckless underestimation of humanity, whispered of alternative approaches. In a shadowed chamber, Lord Varek, a veteran Overlord general, confronted the High Overlord. "Your tactics are short-sighted," Varek warned. "Earth is no longer a primitive world. They've spent a century in the shadows, evolving beyond our reckoning. If we continue this assault, we risk provoking a war we cannot win." The High Overlord's eyes blazed with fury. "You would suggest diplomacy with a species that hid a supercarrier? They chose deception and defiance. They must be crushed." "Deception born of survival," Varek countered. "If we destroy Earth's secret, we destroy the chance for peace. We must understand them, learn why they hid and what they truly want." The council erupted in heated debate, but the High Overlord's will was absolute. Back on the Leviathan, Celine stood before the fleet's tactical map, plotting the next moves. "Earth's survival depends on more than firepower," she said. "We must show the galaxy that humanity has grown, not just in technology but in unity and resilience." Her voice softened as she stared out the viewport toward the stars. "We've been in the shadows for too long. Now we step into the light, and we will not be forgotten." The Leviathan surged forward, its dark engines glowing with purpose. The battle for Earth's future had only just begun. The icy winds howled across Europa's barren plains as dawn struggled to break through thick clouds. Beneath the frozen surface, hidden human colonies hummed with tense activity, bunkers and hangars buried deep within the ice, housing weapons, pilots and machines the galaxy believed extinct. Captain Selene Chen's orders had been clear: protect the colony at all costs. "Commander Reyes," Celine's voice crackled through the comm. "Overlord forces detected inbound. Estimated time to engagement 15 minutes. Jonah Reyes tightened his grip on the control console aboard the Leviathan. "Deploying Valkyrie squads now. Recon drones confirm enemy troop transports in low orbit. They're primed for a ground assault." On Europa's surface, Lieutenant Zara Voss tightened the helmet of her Valkyrie mech, the cold bite of the alien atmosphere seeping through the layered armor. Her breath was steady, every nerve primed for battle. "Squad Alpha, move to intercept. Valkyrie 1, you're on point," she ordered, voice firm. The frozen landscape suddenly erupted with fire. Overlord drop pods streaked through the sky like deadly comets, shattering the ice with explosive impacts. Armored troops spilled onto the surface, weapons blazing. "Enemy is landing heavy forces near the northern outpost," Zara reported. "Our drones are engaging, but their numbers are overwhelming." The Valkyrie mechs roared to life, thrusters firing as they charged forward. Plasma rifles unleashed volleys of searing energy, cutting down advancing Overlord infantry. Jetpacks propelled the mechs over ice cliffs and crevices, turning the battlefield into a chaotic dance of fire and steel. Above, the Leviathan unleashed its drone swarms. Hundreds of micro-drones darted between enemy ships, sabotaging engines, detonating missile bays, and sowing confusion. The Overlord fleet faltered as their carefully planned assault unraveled. "Valkyrie 3 to command. came a crackling voice. Enemy armor approaching. Heavy walkers. They're deploying siege weapons. Zara's jaw clenched. Focus fire on the walkers. We can't let them breach the colony defenses. The mechs converged, their coordinated attacks overwhelming the heavy walkers' armor, but the overlords adapted quickly, releasing chemical clouds that corroded energy shields and slowed human movement. Commander, we're taking heavy casualties, a pilot reported, voice strained. Request reinforcements. Celine's voice came over the comm, steady and unyielding. Hold your ground, Valkyrie reinforcements en route, keep the perimeter secure. On the bridge of the Leviathan, the tension was palpable. Tactical officers monitored every second, recalculating strategies as the battle evolved. Captain, one officer said, pointing at a display, we're picking up an unknown energy signature near the southern ice shelf. It's moving toward the colony. Celine's eyes narrowed. Could it be a new weapon? Alert Valkyrie teams, prepare for anything. On the surface, the ground trembled as a colossal overlord siege engine emerged from the ice, a towering beast bristling with cannons and missile launchers. Its eyes glowed a menacing red. Valkyrie Alpha, target that beast, Zara shouted. Thank you. Mechs launched coordinated strikes, but the siege engine's armor absorbed most of the damage. It retaliated with a barrage of missiles that tore through ice and snow, forcing the Valkyries to scatter. Just when all seemed dire, a new force arrived. From the horizon, armored transports disgorged squads of Valkyrie mech commandos, elite, pilots armed with experimental weaponry and enhanced combat AI. They moved with deadly precision, flanking the siege engine and delivering concentrated fire. Commandos on site, Zara reported, rallying her squad. Push forward. The siege engine faltered, then exploded in a spectacular fireball, shards of metal raining down onto the ice. The Overlord ground forces, demoralized by the loss, began to retreat. As the dust settled, Zara's squad regrouped near the colony's fortified perimeter. Messages poured in from scattered units, all confirming the enemy's withdrawal. Back on the Leviathan, Selene allowed herself a rare moment of relief. Europa secured, for now, she said quietly. But this is only the beginning. Then came the sharp alert that sliced through the calm. Captain, the communications officer warned, we've intercepted Overlord transmissions. They're activating a new weapon system, something capable of planetary destruction. Celine's heart raced. Details. Limited data. But initial scans suggest a device with enough power to vaporize entire cities. It's en route to Earth. Silence fell over the bridge. The stakes had suddenly become far greater. Alert all defenses. Prepare for the worst, Celine ordered. This war isn't just about survival anymore. It's about the future of humanity itself. Europa's icy plains lay scarred but unbroken beneath the distant stars. Above, the Leviathan and its Valkyrie warriors stood as a beacon of defiance, a secret force awakening to meet the storm. The Galactic Overlords had underestimated Earth, but that mistake would soon prove their undoing. The Leviathan surged through the void between Europa and Earth, engines burning blue-white with the promise of raw power. Captain Selene Chen stood on the bridge, eyes locked on the holographic display pulsing before her. The message from the communications officer still echoed in her mind. A new Overlord weapon, capable of planetary destruction. The thought was almost unimaginable. One device capable of leveling cities, of turning Earth into ash. Where is it now? She demanded. 12 hours out from Earth's orbit. The weapon is housed in a massive carrier ship, heavily shielded and protected by multiple escort fleets. Selene clenched her fists. We need to intercept it. If that weapon reaches Earth, then there won't be an Earth left, her tactical officer finished grimly. Prepare Valkyrie assault teams, Selene ordered. We're launching a preemptive strike. Below deck, Valkyrie pilots ran through their final system checks. Lieutenant Zara Voss, fresh from the Europa victory, stood with her squadron in the launch bay. Her face was set, determination blazing. In her eyes, we're going to hit them hard and fast, Zara said. Surprise is our greatest weapon. We can't let this weapon reach Earth. As the Leviathan approached the coordinates, the stars darkened with enemy vessels. Dozens of sleek Overlord warships forming an impenetrable shield around the weapon carrier. The massive vessel pulsed with strange energy, its hull etched with glowing runes that seemed to hum with power. Enemy fleet is stronger than expected, the tactical officer warned. They're prepared for a fight. Celine nodded. Good. Then they'll learn what happens when they underestimate humanity. The Leviathan's drone swarms deployed instantly, weaving through enemy ships with lethal precision. Explosions blossomed across the formation as micro-drones tore through engines and weapon systems. Valkyrie teams, launch, Celine commanded. One by one, the massive hangar bays opened, releasing dozens of Valkyrie mechs into space. They streaked forward like comets, plasma rifles blazing, missiles streaking through the void. The battle exploded in a symphony of fire and metal. Valkyrie pilots moved with lethal coordination, using the Leviathan's AI to predict enemy maneuvers. Their attacks were surgical, disabling key escort vessels and clearing a path toward the weapon carrier. Target locked on the weapon ship, Zara reported, weaving through debris and laser fire. We're going in. The Overlord ship unleashed a devastating counterattack, energy beams crackling across space, tearing through Valkyrie formations. Shields flared and faltered, pilots pushed to the brink, but Zara and her squad pressed on. Inside the weapon carrier, the true horror was revealed. A massive device dominated the ship's core, a sphere of churning dark energy, radiating waves of destructive power. Sensors indicated it was designed to unleash a shockwave capable of eradicating all life on a planet's surface. Destroy the core, Celine ordered through the comm. It's our only chance. Valkyrie squads infiltrated the carrier, fighting through corridors filled with Overlord troops and automated defenses. Plasma bolts ricocheted off reinforced walls as pilots pressed forward. Zara's squad reached the core chamber, a vast chamber pulsing with energy. The device thrummed like a beating heart, unstable and dangerous. Plant charges, Zara ordered. Set timers for 5 minutes. As the team worked, alarms blared. Enemy reinforcements incoming, a pilot warned. We're surrounded. Fierce firefights erupted, Valkyries defending the charges with every ounce of strength. Back on the Leviathan, Celine watched the countdown with bated breath. Charges armed, Zara's voice came through the comm, steady despite the chaos. We need extraction. Hold tight, Celine said. Extraction teams en route. Just as the timer hit 1 minute, a massive Overlord warship rammed the carrier, attempting to crush the Valkyrie forces inside. Brace for impact, Zara shouted. The explosion rocked the core chamber as the charges detonated, sending a pulse through the weapon. The sphere cracked, releasing a wave of energy that tore through the carrier's hull. The massive ship erupted in a fiery storm, debris scattering across space. Valkyrie pilots were pulled back toward the Leviathan as the carrier disintegrated. Weapon destroyed, Celine said, relief flooding her voice. Earth is safe. For now. But the battle was far from over. The Overlord fleet was retreating, but their eyes burned with hatred and resolve. The galaxy had witnessed Earth's secret supercarrier and its fierce defenders. The war for humanity's survival had escalated beyond anything anyone had imagined. Captain Celine Chen knew this was only the beginning. The battle had been won, but the war was far from over. Captain Celine Chen stood in the command chamber of the Leviathan, her gaze fixed on the fading remnants of the destroyed Overlord weapon carrier, drifting in space. Around her, officers busied themselves, but an uneasy silence hung heavy in the air. Damage report, Celine ordered. Tactical systems sustained minor damage, but the Valkyrie units returned with minimal losses. Her tactical officer replied. However, we intercepted encrypted Overlord transmissions before the weapon's destruction. Celine's eyes narrowed. Content? The communications officer stepped forward, voice low. They're calling for reinforcements from their home worlds. The High Overlord is mobilizing the full fleet. Then we have little time, Celine muttered. We need allies. A sudden chime interrupted the room. The communications officer tapped a console. Captain, incoming transmission from Earth Command. Celine activated the screen, revealing Admiral Raj Patel, the commander of Earth's Global Defense Coalition. His face was grim but resolute. "Captain Chen," he said, "the Leviathan's victory has galvanized Earth's nations, but we face threats on multiple fronts. The colonies need support, and—" He paused. "There's a complication. We have reason to suspect a traitor within our ranks." The word traitor rippled through the command chamber like a shockwave. Celine's voice was steady but firm. "Explain," Admiral Patel continued. "Sensitive intel leaked to the Overlords led them to the weapon carrier. We believe someone close to our operations has been feeding them information." Celine's jaw clenched. "We will find them." Before the transmission ended, a new alert lit up the tactical display, a signal from one of the outer colonies. A hidden base on Titan was under attack. "Divert Valkyrie squads to Titan," Celine commanded, "and initiate a full internal investigation. No one betrays Earth on my watch." On Titan, the battle was brutal. The frozen moon's surface was scarred by laser fire and explosions. Overlord forces pushed relentlessly against hidden human defenses. Valkyrie mechs roared into action, shielding the colony's inhabitants and striking back with ferocity. Lieutenant Zara Voss, newly promoted to squad leader, coordinated the defense. "Hold the line. Reinforcements are on their way." Amid the chaos, a strange pattern emerged. Overlord attacks seemed eerily precise, targeting weak points and critical supply depots as if they had inside knowledge. Zara's gut tightened. This isn't just a battle, it's a hunt. Back on the Leviathan, Captain Chen assembled a covert team. Among them was Commander Jonah Reyes, tactical genius, and her trusted confidant. "We need to root out the traitor before they do irreparable damage," Celine said. "Start with personnel who had access to the weapon carrier plans." Jonah nodded. "I'll coordinate with security and intelligence teams." Days passed in tense vigilance. The Leviathan became a crucible of suspicion and paranoia. Every encrypted message, every anomaly in the ship's systems was scrutinized. Then, a breakthrough. "Captain," Jonah's voice came urgent from the security hub. "We've identified unusual data transfers, masked as routine maintenance logs, but they were being sent outside authorized channels." Celine's heart pounded. "Who was responsible?" Jonah's fingers flew across his console. "A lieutenant commander named Mira Velasquez. She was on Europa during the initial assault with access to sensitive intel." Celine felt a cold shock. Mira was a respected officer, skilled, dedicated, and well-liked. "Bring her in," Celine ordered. Mira Velasquez stood quietly in the interrogation chamber, her eyes steady but guarded. "Why, Mira?" Celine asked softly, stepping forward. "Why betray us?" Mira's gaze flickered. "You don't understand. The Overlords, they promised peace if we cooperated. They threatened Earth's destruction if we resisted." Celine's voice hardened. "You made a choice to protect your home, but betrayal will only bring more death." Mira looked away, shame and fear mingling in her eyes. "I never wanted this war, but I was scared." Celine sighed, torn between anger and pity. "Your fear cost lives. You'll face judgment. But know this, we fight for a future where fear no longer controls us." With the traitor exposed, the Leviathan's crew regained focus. But the looming Overlord fleet was already on its way, a storm gathering at the edge of the solar system. Celine gathered her officers. "Prepare for the final battle. We will not go quietly into the night. Earth's secret has been revealed. Now, we fight for everything we are." Outside, the stars glittered cold and distant. But inside the Leviathan, a fierce light burned, the unbreakable spirit of humanity ready to face the coming darkness. The void outside the Leviathan was silent but deadly. A storm of Overlord warships gathered, a black cloud blotting out the stars, their crimson engines glowing like the eyes of predators ready to strike. Inside the command bridge, Captain Celine Chen stood tall, radiating calm under pressure. Her crew moved with precision, each action part of a carefully choreographed dance that could decide the fate of humanity. Enemy fleet at 1 million kilometers and closing, the tactical officer reported. They're deploying capital ships and battleships far beyond previous engagements. Celine's voice was steady. Status of Valkyrie squadrons? Fully operational and awaiting orders. Valkyrie commandos are preparing boarding maneuvers. Celine nodded. Good. This is it. The Overlords want to crush Earth's secret and make us surrender. We will show them the cost of underestimating humanity. Across the ship, the atmosphere was electric. Pilots and soldiers steeled themselves for the fight of their lives. Lieutenant Zara Voss checked her weapon systems for the last time, feeling the familiar surge of adrenaline mixed with determination. Ready for launch, Zara confirmed. Commander Jonah Reyes entered the hangar, placing a firm hand on her shoulder. Remember, this isn't just about firepower. It's about heart. You're the spearhead of Earth's defiance. Zara met his gaze, eyes blazing. We won't fail. As the Leviathan surged forward, its weapons array ignited with blazing energy. The first shots rang out. Railgun slugs tearing through enemy. Shields, plasma bolts ripping across enemy hulls. The battle erupted into chaos. Valkyrie mechs launched from the hangar, diving into the maelstrom with reckless bravery. Laser fire and missile barrages filled space, ships twisting and weaving to avoid destruction. Celine monitored the fight, issuing orders, coordinating strikes. Valkyrie Alpha Squadron, engage enemy battleships. Valkyrie Commandos, prepare boarding. Operations on the Overlord flagships. Zara led her squad through a hailstorm of enemy fire, weaving past explosions to strike critical systems on the lead battleship. Their plasma cannons scorched through armor plates, forcing the enemy vessel into retreat. Meanwhile, boarding pods were launched, carrying commandos into the heart of enemy ships. Inside, brutal hand-to-hand combat erupted, Valkyries and Overlord warriors clashing in tight corridors under flickering emergency lights. Back on the Leviathan, an urgent alarm blared. Captain, multiple enemy ships have broken through our outer defenses. They're heading straight for the core reactor. Celine's eyes flashed with urgency. Divert all fire to intercept. Deploy emergency shields. The Leviathan shook as enemy missiles slammed into the hull. Power flickered as the crew fought to stabilize the core. Jonah Reyes rushed to her side. We can't hold them off much longer. Celine took a deep breath. Then we end this now. Prepare the quantum pulse cannon. The quantum pulse was a last resort weapon, capable of unleashing a devastating energy wave to obliterate everything within 100 kilometers, including the Leviathan if fired recklessly. But the collateral damage. The tactical officer began. Celine cut him off. There's no choice. The battle raged on as Valkyrie squads crippled the Overlord flagship. Zara's squad breached the bridge, engaging in a brutal firefight. The Overlord commander sneered, weapon raised. You cannot stop the inevitable, human. Zara fired. The commander fell. Not today, she said. Back on the Leviathan, the quantum pulse cannon charged. The countdown began. 10 seconds. Celine's voice echoed. The enemy ships were closing fast. 5 seconds. Jonah's voice trembled. We're too close. Fire will obliterate us all. 3 seconds. Celine's eyes hardened. For Earth. 2, 1, fire. A brilliant pulse erupted, a wave of searing energy radiating outward. Enemy ships were vaporized instantly. The battlefield went silent. When the light faded, the Leviathan was battered but intact. The Overlord fleet was in full retreat. Celine, slumped against the command console, exhausted but victorious. We did it. Zara's voice came through the comm. The fleet's breaking. Celine allowed herself a rare smile. Earth is free for now. But as the Leviathan limped toward Earth, Celine knew the war was far from over. The galaxy had seen Earth's secret. Now, the true fight for survival, the fight for humanity's place among the stars, was just beginning. The battle had ended, but its echoes reverberated through the void. Captain Celine Chen stood at the observation deck of the Leviathan, gazing at the blue-green marble of Earth slowly coming into view. The planet looked peaceful from this distance, its swirling clouds and vast oceans a stark contrast to the chaos that had raged just days before. But peace was fragile. The scars of war were etched not just across the stars, but within every soul aboard the Supercarrier. She felt their weight, the heavy cost of defiance against a seemingly invincible foe. "Captain," Jonah Reyes approached, his voice soft yet urgent. "We've received transmissions from Earth Command. The colonies are rallying. Earth's nations have united like never before." Celine nodded, a flicker of hope stirring inside her. "Good. Unity is our greatest weapon." Jonah hesitated. "There's more. The Overlords' retreat was a strategic withdrawal, not defeat. They're regrouping, planning a counterattack. We have maybe months, maybe weeks before they strike again." Celine's gaze hardened. "Then we prepare." Below deck, the Valkyrie pilots cleaned their weapons and repaired their mechs. Lieutenant Zara Voss stood among them, her squad weary, but alive. "We fought with everything we had," Zara said quietly. "And we survived. Earth's secret supercarrier showed the galaxy we won't be crushed." A young pilot looked up. "What now?" Zara smiled, faint but fierce. "Now, we build, we train, we get stronger." In the command chamber, Selene convened her senior officers. "We face an uncertain future," she began. "The Overlords will return, more determined and deadly. But we have something they don't: our resilience, our ingenuity, and our unity." The tactical officer displayed a hologram of Earth's solar system, highlighting new human colonies and defense outposts. "We'll establish a defensive perimeter around Earth and the colonies. Our supercarrier will be the spearhead of that defense," Jonah added, "and we'll reach out beyond our system to other alien races who oppose the Overlords. Allies can turn the tide." Celine's eyes gleamed with resolve. "The war is not over. It's just beginning. But we fight not just to survive, but to thrive, to claim our place among the stars." Weeks later, the Leviathan docked in Earth's orbital station amid a flurry of activity. Earth's leaders and representatives from the colonies greeted the crew with gratitude and awe. Admiral Raj Patel approached Celine, his expression proud. "You and your crew changed everything. Earth's secret is out, and now the galaxy knows. We are not to be underestimated." Celine smiled, though her mind was already racing ahead. "This is a new dawn, Admiral. But vigilance is our watchword. We'll build a future where fear no longer controls us." As the Leviathan's crew celebrated their hard-won victory, the stars beyond Earth held silent promise and looming threats. In the darkness, the High Overlords War Council convened, furious and humiliated but unbroken. "We underestimated humanity," the Overlord commander hissed. "They wield courage and defiance like weapons, but they are young, untested. Their rebellion will be crushed." Yet even as they vowed revenge, a subtle fear took root. The Leviathan was not just a supercarrier, it was a symbol, a beacon lighting the path for all who dared to resist. On Earth, beneath the shimmering lights of a renewed skyline, Captain Selene Chen looked up at the stars. Her voice was steady, filled with hope and iron resolve. "We have shown the galaxy who we are. We are Earth, strong, united, and unyielding. Whatever comes next, we will meet it together." The secret supercarrier had emerged from the shadows, and humanity's saga among the stars had truly begun.